be really cool if we could have an expert in love talk to us. And so it was about 6-8 months ago, somewhere in the summertime, huh, Rohit? In the summer, I met you for the very first time.
Right.
My daughter, Olivia, and I, and Michelle had dinner with our guest speaker, Rohit, over at Dave's Famous Ribs. And it was really a neat experience. And and I walked away from it, and even my daughter, Olivia, said, Dad, who was that man? Who was that man? He's got some special quality. There's something that he has that you want to know more about, Dad, you know? And I stayed in touch with him loosely through email and Facebook. And then when his book came out, called Soulfully Loving Soulfully. That too. Did he write another book?
Either way.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I read it on my iPad instantly, and I've been reading it 2 or 3 times a week. I read it every day for about a week, and I've just fallen in love with his writing. It's so poetic. He's like a modern day Rumi, and I asked Michelle. I said, Michelle, is it possible that Rohit would come and share with us maybe the last 30 minutes of Bromance? And she said, let me check in his schedule, and he had it available, so he's going to join us. And he's going to just share with us what it means to have a loving soulfully, what that might mean, and just let this land where it will land. You know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So let the message just land where it's going to land. So would you welcome up just a wonderful man and just a extraordinary spirit on the planet here, spreading the word of love. So Rohit, welcome. Thank you. Would you give him a nice round of applause? Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. That was very heartwarming. I can't tell you how much I've been hearing about Joe, and ever since I've met him, it's been a phenomenal experience to see the way he not only talks about things, but works on himself. And to me, that's been the hallmark of a person who's truly walking their talk. And it's something that I learned a long time back, that if I was going to just keep talking things and not living them, it wouldn't amount to anything at all. I had to walk my talk. And I recognize that in Joe and admire that in him as an incredible quality. So thank you, Joe, for inviting me here. Thank you, Michelle, for organizing. And Maddie, for all the help you're giving with the technical side of things. Thank you. Okay, so first I think I'll start off by telling you a little something about me. Rohit Juneja. I'm from India originally, and have been working for the last 7 years in the field of spiritual psychotherapy, past life regression, hypnotherapy, things like that. I got to that through a series of events. I won't go into any of the detail here, but it's been an adventurous journey. Primarily, my search was for meaning. Why are we here? What is life all about? Who the heck is God, and what the hell are we, and what happens at the end of it all, and questions like that since I was a teenager. I read a lot, studied under lots of people, gurus, this, that, tried a whole lot of stuff, and none of it seemed to work, not for me at least. Somewhere down the line, this happened, maybe somewhere in the 90s, I got into this idea of listening to your inner voice. It was a strange idea for me when I first heard it, and it's probably going to be a strange idea for you too. But over the years, I began to listen more and more. I learned how to still my mind. I learned how to be at peace with myself. And behind that stillness, I found this beautiful inner voice. So initially, I would ask it about, how do I live my life? What do I do? And things like that. But gradually, it began guiding me about bigger things, bigger issues, about the world, about life, about what we need to do, and ultimately about love. So I reached a stage where, this one, yes. Things started happening. I had been writing for about 10 years. I have a book called God, You Sexy Devil that I'm in the process with. I hadn't released it. There were some deep fears about releasing something as dynamic as that, and especially with that kind of title. So I had some fears. I was working through that stuff. It didn't get released yet. But something strange was happening in between. I moved here from India about 2.5 years ago, so a year and a half ago. I'd be writing on Facebook, commenting on people's posts in Facebook, the way we usually do. But while writing those responses, those comments, I found myself going into this state where I'll write like a whole paragraph and some really beautiful, inspiring things. And people would say, great, wonderful stuff. And I'd say, okay. A few months into that, I began to realize I had quite a lot of stuff I had written. So I started to gather it all. And then in a conversation with Michelle one day, I was trying to figure out what's my niche. Where do I really want to focus? And she said, love. So what do you mean love? She says, the topic was, what is it that I have to offer that is absolutely unique, that is something that you've never come across before? And she said, love. And I said, why? She said, because the way you talk about love, I have never heard anyone talk about it like that before. I said, really? You often don't see yourself. You don't realize what you're about or what you've got to offer. I wasn't looking at myself. He said, no, love, that's your thing. I said, all right, let me go back. I went back and looked at all this stuff I'd been writing. And I realized I had an entire body of work there. So I started putting it all together. And it wasn't so simple. That period of time, a year and a half ago, I had left behind my entire life in India, my therapy practice, my clients, everything. I was here in America trying to start life all over again. And what I discovered was that it was difficult to get going in the present economy, as you all know. So finances were really down at the lowest possible. And I said, geez, what do I do? Do I chase money or do I chase my passion? And the unequivocal answer that I got from within was, chase your passion. I said, yeah, great. That's a great thought. But how do I do it? You need money to do stuff. So I got this image of a hillside, a tent. I'm sitting in there writing. Come on, this is not real. This is not how can I do that? Well, the next day, I was talking to a friend. She says, hey, I'm moving in with my boyfriend, and we're going to be living out in the countryside, and he lives on a 17-acre property, and they have this on a hill, and they're overlooking this beautiful valley. I said, what? I just saw that place. And so it happened. 2 weeks later, there I was, up in a tent, beautiful valley, lovely sunsets every day, owls in the night serenading, waking up with the birds. And living in there, you can see my chair and table, and that was the scene in which all this started.
Rohit, I think it's important to say that you didn't even own a tent or a sleep.
Oh yes, I had never camped before. I've been from India. I didn't know how to set the tent up. And here I was on this big adventure. I'm going to go do it. I had no clue how this thing works. I had never bought it. I had to buy all the equipment, figure it out. Life's been quite an adventure, I have to tell you that. And I've been taking on things just like that, with no knowledge of how to proceed further. Just trusting the universe, trusting that I will be shown how to take the next step, and the next, and the next. So that's what emerged out of it, loving soulfully. The key to love that never hurts, never betrays, and never dies. Now, if I looked at that, I'd say, that's a tall claim. That's saying a lot. Where do you get off saying that love, you know about a love that never hurts, that never betrays, and never dies? And I agree, it's a tall claim. And I've always said never say never, because when you say never, those things happen. But you know what? This stuff's already been happening. It's been happening with every one of us. It's happened with me, it's happened with all of us. We've all been in situations where we've been betrayed, where someone we loved has left us, and where we've been hurt. And it's time we start moving into this subject and understanding why this is happening and why are we in the situation we're in. I bring it down to one thing. I call it the mythology of love. Think about it. Where have you got your ideas about love from? Was it from Snow White? Cinderella? Where is it from? Who told us about the knight in shining armor? Who told us about the Prince Charming, the one who would rescue us, save us, solve all our problems? Where did we get all that from? Was it when we were little kids listening to our mom, dad, reading to us stories? Was it then? I don't know. But there certainly isn't a very evolved thinking around what love is all about. It's certainly not based on some philosophy, spirituality, or anything else. The closest I could get is the Victorian ideal that was set up around 300 years ago by some woman who sort of fancied this idea. They got this whole thing of courtly love going, and here we are. 300 years later, we're still living the same Victorian dream, and it isn't working. What we've got in front of us is all kinds of concepts, from the perfect mate to the soulmate. And they're all just different versions of each of the same thing. The result has been 60% divorce rate, 50% of relationships reporting an affair at some stage, 100 million single people, 100 million, 44% of the US population, single. Many of them, I'd say most of them, looking for that perfect mate. And tons of broken families, people who are bitter, lonely, hurt. It's time we look for a solution. And what I've gone with is something that takes us deep within. I'll be reading to you a little bit from my book at this point. When you think of your lover as the one true love, who will complete you, save you, and fulfill your needs, then you set yourself up for failure. Your vision is sweet and romantic, but no person can ever live up to it. Your expectations seem sensible, but they are unrealistic and will trap you in a web of emotions. Do not blame your lovers for having disappointed, hurt, and betrayed you. The root cause of all your tragic love stories is this egoic ideal of romantic love. Now, just to give you a little background, I never wrote poetry. I used to write, but I was prose. I never took photographs, and this book is full of photographs. All of this started with this book. So in this search for a new love paradigm, what we've got is the search for something that is more spiritual. Both my hands here. Insightful, abundant. One of the things that old model sort of perpetuates is the idea of lack. There is one person, and you've got to find that person. They could be anywhere in the world, but you've got to find this one person. And then, if you do find them, if you're so lucky as to find them, you better hold on to them, because you might lose them. And then if you lose them, you're back again to square one. Was that the perfect one, or the next one you're going to find will be the perfect one? And we keep doing this. We might do it through 2, 3 marriages, through many failed relationships. We keep looking for the perfect one. So we're living in a situation of lack. Our whole construct is about lack, not abundance. In money, we want abundance. In houses, we want abundance. In property, in clothes, in food, we want abundance. But when it comes to love, we want the one. It's a strange idea. Why? And another thing we all want is freedom. Somehow, we've constructed love to be something that takes away freedom. So men, of course, go through this a lot. Feelings of feeling constrained, having commitment, and women complain about that. Right? This guy doesn't want to commit. I don't know what's wrong with him. Yes, we have this problem going on: freedom or commitment. But one thing that we would all like is something that's free. We all like freedom. We want things that are free. And Loving Soulfully explores the idea somewhere further on about what it might be if love were more abundant, more free. You can take that part or leave it, but the idea here is to just keep opening up to new ideas and seeing where it takes you. So, how do we proceed? How do we get into this whole thing? My claim here is, let's begin with you. Let's start from the beginning. It all starts with ourselves. This really is a deep spiritual journey. It is not something that you'll do just by reading a book and you've got point number 1, 2, 3 and it's all done and we're all set for life. No, it's a deep spiritual journey. When I say you, I'm not referring to the body. I'm not referring to the mind. I'm not referring to your personality. I'm referring to something that I will keep calling here the self. Some have called it the essence. Some have called it soul. Some have called it the I, the big self. Whatever name you want to give it. I'm referring to that part of us that has a body. I have a body. I have a mind. I have a personality. Who am I? That's been the big question. Most spiritual gurus and teachers have played with this question. Who am I? Who am I really? If I go past the things I think I am, the things I desire, the things I do, my job, my career, my age, if I put all that aside, if I put aside my story, my wounding, my thoughts, my emotions, then who am I? Who am I outside? Because I'm the one that has the thoughts. I'm the one that has the emotions. Who am I? So that's the first stage in this journey, is really getting into that. If we have some time today, I'll do a little exercise. If not, I'll try and put it up somewhere where you can look into that. But getting a deeper sense. Meditation is a great way to go there. Finding ways in which to still your mind. And in that you will find that inner part of you. One thing I will tell you, it is not agitated, it is not heavy, it is not angry, it is not upset. It is full of peace, it is full of joy, it is full of love. In Loving Soulfully, I write,
what you long for cannot be found outside of you. The treasure you seek, the answer to all of your troubles, lies freely, abundantly, and endlessly within you. Within you lies yourself, your soul, your essence. Therein shall you find the fulfillment of all your desires. Therein shall you find unlimited, everlasting love, peace, joy, and wisdom. What you do not see within will be invisible in your world, and what you see within you will find everywhere. Love not another unless you have first learned to love yourself. Seek not the one who will fulfill and love you like no other. The one you seek lies within.
So the journey is really about getting to know yourself, going into a place of stillness, experiencing that inner self, that place of peace within yourself, listening to that inner voice as it guides you and talks to you. And no, it is very different from the voice of your mind. There is no analysis, there is no thinking, it's just a flow of thoughts and ideas, and all of them will be inspirational and beautiful. Learn to trust your intuition. This again is your intuition. I like to break that up and say it's your inner guidance. It's your inner guidance GPS mechanism that guides you on how to live your life. When you face a problem with your relationships, trust that, because that is the voice of love. It will never cause harm to you or to another. Be authentic and true to this inner self, and learn to express your spirit. As you express it, artists do it through painting, musicians do it through music, especially the great ones. I call this the key to greatness. If you can tap into this place, you have tapped into the key to greatness. You will discover here things that no one knows about. Music that no one sang before, art that no one ever created, writings that no one ever did before. I learned to be a photographer, a poet, and a writer all in one shot, listening to this inner voice, and I invite you to do the same. It is the most magnificent adventure of all, the final frontier, the one within you. And I take it one step further. It's not just about knowing yourself. It's not about loving yourself. It's about romancing yourself. Now, romancing yourself takes things to a whole different level. We're looking at, we're not just talking about getting some extra massages or doing a little extra shopping, buying yourself some nice clothes. That's not what I mean by loving yourself or romancing yourself. By that I mean giving to yourself that what you would want your ideal lover to give you. What would you want your ideal lover to give you? Think about it. And if you put that expectation on your partner, or a partner you want to have, or a partner you do have, notice what happens. That expectation is often not met. And then there is disappointment, there is hurt, there is anger, feelings of being let down. Ultimately you shut down, and ultimately you get angry and you leave. Or you get into a comfort zone, you sort of settle for being together, and you'll get into complacency. But the passion, the zest, the joy is gone. But if you learn to do this within yourself, then you're complete within yourself. And as you fill yourself more and more from within, the next stage is you begin to overflow. And you have plenty to share. There's no lack. No one's here to fulfill your needs. No one needs to do things to make you feel good. You know how to make yourself feel good. And you're here to give your goodness and your joy and your love to others. You're in a place of abundance. So date yourself. Make love to yourself. Feel complete and in love with yourself. Be in love with yourself. It's an amazing experience. It's a high that you've only experienced when you fell in love, but try having that with no one around and just with you. Just you and the sky and the stars, and feel that inside you. No one can take this away. It is the most glorious experience. So in Loving Soulfully, I write,
The soul of love unfolds when you adore, nurture, and embrace yourself unconditionally. When you romance yourself tenderly, passionately, and sensually. Within yourself you will find the most intoxicating elixir, the secret to unlimited, unending, soulful love, the key to fulfilling your deepest desire and longing. Yourself knows how to love you the way no one ever will. Yourself will never betray you or leave you. Yourself is the only thing that is truly yours, now and for eternity.
this might like to tap into something by Rumi. Have you all heard of Rumi? Yeah? Okay. So we're going to play a little piece here from Rumi. And as she gets it set up, I'll give you a little introduction. What Rumi talks about is divine love. He talks about love for the beloved. Many of us have been given the idea of the divine or God as being someone who is wrathful, someone who will punish us, and so on. But Rumi's vision is entirely different. His vision is of a God that is loving. In fact, as the ideal lover, as an intimate, ecstatic love relationship with the divine. Now, however you want to construct that, however you want to look at that, the idea is that there is such a source of all that is, which contains all that beautiful love that we've been dreaming about. Our souls innately know this. We've been looking for it in one person after another, but something about our search isn't getting met out here. So Rumi proposes that soul, that love that we've been looking for, is our original connection with Source. And we're going to play a little bit of his poetry. This is from a CD that was put out by Deepak Chopra. It's called Gift of Love. It's a poem by Rumi. It's Gift of Love Part 1 if you'd like to get it. It is incredibly beautiful. And I'd like Maddie to turn it on.
From the beginning of my life, I have been looking for your face. Today, I have seen it. Today, I have seen the charm, the beauty, the unfathomable grace of the face that I was looking for. Today, I have found you, and those who laughed and scorned me yesterday are sorry that they were not looking as I did. I am bewildered by the magnificence of your beauty and wish to see you with 100 eyes. My heart has burned with passion and has searched forever for this wondrous beauty that I now behold. I am ashamed to call this love human and afraid of God to call it divine. Your fragrant breath, like the morning breeze, has come to the stillness of the garden. You have breathed new life into me. I have become your sunshine and also your shadow. My soul is screaming in ecstasy. Every fiber of my being is in love with you. Your effulgence has lit a fire in my heart, and you have made radiant for me the earth and sky. My arrow of love has arrived at the target. I am in the house of mercy, and my heart is a blaze of prayer.
In Loving Soulfully, I take you one step further in how we can bring that within our relationships. How we can invite that divine energy to flow from us to our beloved and from our beloved to us. And we can experience this most ecstatic of relationships right here, right now. And then we take it one step further. That's not enough. We actually bring that and radiate it out to the world so that we can begin to love everyone we meet. Whether it's our children to start with, and then our friends, and from there our family, and from there the people we work with. And begin to experience this connection with each person. This place where there is no judgment, where there is just a pure, simple way of loving that is straight from the heart. Learning how to live from the heart here and now is really the invitation that Loving Soulfully brings us to. And as we go further in that, I'll talk a little bit more about the relationships we have before we go into loving everyone. Let's see how we can deal with the most immediate problem that many of us face. So, for many of us, love has been a challenge because the way we've been conditioned to look at love is as a way of we find our lovers through attraction. And this model of attraction has unfortunately often led us down a very scary path. A path in which, yes, we were attracted for a while, and then suddenly it wore off. Or then we started to see other aspects of that person that we never saw before. So you have the heated romance, you have the very passionate nights in the beginning, and then it all goes whoosh. Something is wrong with this whole idea. In Loving Soulfully, I write,
Love is not attraction. Attraction arises in the egoic mind, fabricated by the imagination. Like a computer algorithm, it seeks someone similar to mirror you, different to complete you, beautiful to make you look good, sensitive to understand you, powerful to protect you, wealthy to take care of you. When the mind finds its Prince Charming, it is overjoyed. It obsesses, clings, and sees only that which it desires. It strives to spin a safe, secure, and permanent web. The egoic mind expertly weaves fairy tales, assumptions, and illusions. When its expectations are not met, it creates drama. It fights, argues, blames, withdraws, weeps, and defends itself. When your lover leaves, the mind is deeply hurt, wounded, and devastated. It believes you are unworthy, undeserving, and unattractive. It believes that no one will ever love you, and that you will always be alone. Such are the ways of unconscious egoic love. They rarely work, barely satisfy, and seldom last. Be attracted instead to love's unique expression in everyone. Surround yourself with those who have similar vibrational energy. Allow yourself to be seen, cherished, and adored. Love deeply, completely, passionately, and fearlessly. Let your cup overflow endlessly.
so what do we do? Where do we go from here? If it's not going to be from attraction, what do we do? I say let's up it to an even higher level. Let's go for perfection. But this perfection is not to find perfection, to find a perfect person, but is to find the perfection in what is already there. To find the perfection within the imperfection. Or the term I heard from someone was wabi-sabi, which is apparently a Japanese term. Like, they don't go for the perfect vase or whatever it is. They like the cracked one. So the cracked one, apparently if you highlight it and decorate it, you bring out the light in a certain way, you can actually see some amazing things emerge. So they don't throw away the cracked vase. They keep it They highlight the imperfections and discover the perfection within the imperfection. And that's the concept we're talking of here.
Love is perfection. The elusive ideal that you will find a perfect person and live happily ever after sounds enticing, yet inevitably leads to unhappiness, frustration, and loneliness. The egoic mind wants to believe that love can be found in a perfectly shaped, attired, or accomplished person. Time shatters these illusions. As external attributes fade and wither, as faults and imperfections become magnified, challenging the authenticity of that which you called love. Love's greatest power lies in her ability to reveal the beauty, the uniqueness, the perfection that lie hidden behind all perceived imperfections and flaws, to magnify and glorify all that is delightful in the beloved, while embracing seeming inadequacies as sacred expressions of an evolving universe. Where you see perfection, there you will find love. When you see perfection in everything and everyone, you will find love everywhere. Love is the perfection you seek. Love is perfection revealed. Love is perfection made manifest.
This is the key. If you want to find love everywhere, look for the perfection in each person. There's always something incredible about each person. Love is the perfection you seek. Love is perfection revealed. Love is perfection made manifest. All right, so all that might sound really nice, but wait a minute. I find this perfect person, or maybe I see the perfection in what I've got, but here's this other weird thing that keeps happening. They keep changing. Nobody stays the same. Now what do? It's like this moving target, it's never quite what it seems to be. And that's another part we need to embrace, that nothing is going to stay the same. Love is constantly changing.
Love's journey is filled with change and uncertainty. The way you love is never static. The one you love changes over time. You too grow and evolve over time. Those who resist love's dynamic ways find themselves entrenched in resentment, bitterness, and loneliness. They become fearful of love, armor their hearts, and relive their sad stories. Love is never lost, never wasted, and is never a failure. Each lover is a playground for love's expression. Each relationship births a new version of yourself.
Love does not mind. This is the key. If you really want to be able to experience this kind of love, we need to cross one simple barrier, and that is the mind. I do teach people how to do that, but it's not a subject I can get into out here.
You said simply?
It's simple. In fact, it's so simple that that's the whole point. People have made it complicated. But I can assure you this, it's a breath away. Stillness, peace, and all that we're looking is just one breath away. You can slip right into it. It's a dimension that exists around us all the time. And with a few little tricks, you can learn how to get there instantly. Can't take it up right now, but I assure you we can talk about it later.
Love does not mind. The egoic mind is frail and fearful. Unable to grasp the true nature of love, it constructs walls, ideals, and norms to hold on to love. It concocts conditions, fears, and mistrust to control love. The trickster mind contaminates love. It twists your thoughts, bewilders your emotions. It manufactures all manner of untruths.
In fact, I would say, whatever the mind tells you is untrue. Disbelieve everything it tells you, and you will be happy. Disbelieve everything your mind tells you, and you will be in bliss. Everything.
It doubts your lover, creates imaginary scenarios, and incites conflict. Sooner or later, love finds a way to liberate herself from the mind's control, to tunnel through the corridors of your soul, to break free from confining relationships and breathe the fresh air of her natural sweetness. Mind and love are polarities that rarely meet. When you mind, you will not love. and when you love, you will not mind. Love is surrender. Love welcomes everyone, alluring you with her seductive charms, breaking your protective walls, stealing your precious mind, enticing you to do things you would not ordinarily do, making you drunk with her ecstatic energy. No one is more or less deserving of love's abundance. No one is worthy or unworthy. No one is better or worse. In surrendering to love, there are no winners or losers. Love takes all of yourself and gives all of herself, enriching, enlightening, and expanding you. In surrendering everything to love, you become nothing. In nothingness, love carves you in her likeness. In exchange for your surrender, love will not reward you with security, safety, comfort, happiness, or permanence. Love will not thank you or validate you, nor will she keep track of what you did or did not do. Love's doors are not open for barter or accounting. She does not give any assurance of fairness, equality, or justice. Leave these egoic ideals outside the temple of love. Enter empty-handed, ready to die at any moment, ready to lose your mind, ego, and self, ready to forsake your nationality, religion, and identity, ready to trust love's skillful carving hand as she deepens the chalice of your heart, enhancing its capacity to give and receive love.
My invitation for all of you is to come to this place not only of loving an ideal or a wonderful partner, but also of loving everyone. We need to see a lot more of that happening on this planet, a lot more of people loving each other, caring about each other. And it begins by recognizing the divine within yourself and then within the other, and then treating each other, each encounter as sacred, treating each person as special, validating them, honoring them, caring for them, ultimately just radiating love wherever you go. We can do it. I know we can. This book is an inspired creation. It is a heart-centered book. It brings you to a place of stillness. It will touch your heart and soul, I assure you. The interesting thing that it does is because your mind becomes still, the information downloads directly into you, and it installs itself like computer software coming into you, transforming you from within. It did that for me. I've known it to do that for a number of other people too. So I believe that it will have a great impact on you. The ebook has been out for a little while now, about a couple of months. It's been on the Apple store for iPad. It's on Amazon for the Kindle, and you can also use that on your PC and Mac. And just about 2 days ago, I got the proofs for the hard copy. It's full of color pages. All the pictures you see in here are all through the book. So that's how it reads. And we have a wonderful, wonderful offer here. Joe has very kindly offered to give as a gift to each of you a copy of Loving Soulfully. I was so deeply touched. I was so deeply touched by this. But before we wind up, I would like to thank Joe.
There's something deeply true about this thought right here. Yes. It downloads directly into you. Have you ever read something that as soon as you read it, it just, in a moment, you just went, oh, just lands like really deep? And that was my experience when I started reading through his work. It is poetic. And to just sit and read something over and over again and just let it land. And it does. It transforms from the inside out. All lasting, all permanent change begins on the inside, works its way out. And rarely do I come across work that I just sit and I meditate on. I just read and I look over and over and over. And it has the nature of a biblical scripture. It has that nature for me. And so I'm really grateful that you went into the tent.
Yeah, people went into caves in the old days, right?
Yeah, or they went into the Navy civilian version of Hell Week. We all go somewhere, don't we?
That's right.
Yeah. To find some truth.
Yeah.
To find something,
That's right.
to experience something, we have to go somewhere.
We have to
And,
guess.
and I'm so grateful that you did that, and
Thank
to
you.
give birth to this piece of work, which I think is timeless and is going to make a great impact. And if I can do a small part by having 53 people read it, and then each one of you pass it on to somebody, read it and
Yeah.
then pass it on.
Yeah.
You know, and then more than ever, our planet needs love. The only solution is love.
Yeah.
I mean, we are in such a mess that we have to call forward the highest frequency to clean this thing up. And so I'm so grateful that you were
Thank
able to
you.
share with us on.
I'm going to take it one step further. I would love to be able to take this message all over the world.
Yes.
So I'm looking for people who would like to set up events in their homes, and I'd be happy to come over there as you call your friends over, and let's open up the conversation even further.
Yeah, that's
and let
beautiful.
people hear about this, talk about it,
Yeah.
take it
Beautiful.
further.
Well,
like
let's
a
let's start
grassroots
by
movement.
reading the book.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got his email address and you have his Facebook address, and start the conversation. Let's open up a conversation about loving
That's right.
soulfully. Yeah, thank Rohit for that. Thank you very much. Yeah, excellent. Thank you guys. Yeah, give him a nice thing.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd also like to give you the first copy right here.
Awesome. Yeah, I got it. Thank you, my friend. Good. Thank you. Awesome.
This is Rohit Juneja, the author of Loving Soulfully. I'd like to thank you for listening to my reading and watching the presentation. It's been an honor to be able to be there for you and present this wonderful book. I'd like you to know that Loving Soulfully is now available in both ebook as well as hard copy or paperback. Loving Soulfully has received rave reviews. Here are a couple of them from Amazon. This book is a heartfelt, poetic, truthful, and moving account of what is possible in the realm of loving relationships. Rohit's clarity and evolutionary ideas left me with a feeling of expansiveness. I wanted to take my love and widen my circle of relating. The photographs seem to be infused with light. His words feel pulled from a divine mind. Everyone should read this book. The world would be a better place for it. Carol Candell. What a beautifully written anthem of the many faces of love. Mr. Juneja's soul transmits the truth of love in its many forms with poetry and compassion, yet with a precision that speaks directly to the heart. It is a must-read for those who are exploring how love can be in their life in its most magnificent way. Carla Gernstein. The ebook version is now available for $7.99 on the Apple iBook Store as well as iTunes, and this can be read on the iPad. It is also available on Amazon, where you can read it on the Kindle, PC, Mac, or your smartphone, either iPhone or Android. It is also available on Barnes & Noble for the Nook. The paperback version is a full color book of 108 pages. It is regularly $25, but can be available at a special price of $20 plus shipping when ordered from facebook.com/lovingsoulfully. You will receive a signed copy by the author. The Loving Soulfully page on Facebook is a great place to leave your comments, like and appreciate the book, and as well as get to know about upcoming events and workshops, as well as community gatherings and home gatherings that I'll be having all across the world. So come there and stay connected and stay informed. Your input means a lot. Your likes, reviews, comments, questions, feedback, all of them are precious. So please feel free to interact, to write, to discuss, and to open up your minds and hearts into exploring the topic of loving soulfully even further. As mentioned during the presentation, I'm looking forward to being able to bring the message of loving soulfully to your home, office, church, or community center. An enchantment is an event where we explore the ideas in loving soulfully and call your friends and family to join us and expand the circle of love. If you would like to host such an event, please call me or email me. Once again, I'd like to thank you for joining me on this blessed journey towards loving soulfully. In listening to me, In reading these words and in joining me on this adventure, we have gone into a deeper connection, and I look forward to this deepening even further in time to come. My blessings and love are with you always. I look forward to hearing from you soon.